Any adjustments to the agenda? No? Okay, any public forum? Who's on Zoom? Seeing none, we'll move on to business items, Department of Liquor and Lottery, Emily's outdoor consumption request. So Emily's Bistro has an outdoor consumption permit now to the rear of the building, a small area between Route 100 and the building. They want to do a special event on Wednesdays to close off the driveway between their front door, the sidewalk and driveway between their front door and that green space.
Especially this is where the speed bump is.
I think it's
Yeah.
only a single Wednesday though, right? It's not like Wednesdays
I
in
think it's just
general.
one. I think it's just one.
Oh, I'm
I think
sorry.
it's just one.
I'm sorry, I misread that then.
And so basically it's where the speed hump is, I think.
From what, see, I was confused because it said 5:30 to 7, but then something till 10 near.
The application says till 10, but the event would be from 5 to 7.
Why don't I, instead of I summarize it, York?
Well, now you're confusing me, so,
Okay.
I don't wanna, again, say it wrong. I'm pretty sure it's just one day, and on page 11 is the actual permit. Women's Wednesday is a monthly gathering of, oh, maybe you're right. Community members, we want to have yard games and raffle prizes that would benefit the Mad River Community Fund. 5:30 to 7:30, application says 10. Oh, so the time is 5 to 7:30, but when they put the application in, it's, I think, set till 10.
And it is monthly.
On
It is?
Wednesday, August 6th, the parking lot will be blocked off. It's a little hard to say. It says monthly, but then it says on Wednesday, August 6th. So I'd have to, so I'd have to see about it
Or is
after that.
Wednesday, August 6th a special day that has a longer?
Oh, maybe they'll do it every month, but on August 6th, they're doing yard
So I
games.
think the event
I think
occurs
that's right.
monthly at different locations is my understanding.
I think this makes sense.
Yeah.
And
August-
this is their
This
location.
is their
and they want
location,
to-
August 6th. This is a one-time permit, I believe. But I will
It
check up
says
on that.
Wednesday is a monthly gathering.
Yeah, but then it says.
Women's Wednesday is a, like,
Oh,
I think
in
it's
quotation
explaining,
marks.
it's explaining the context for the gathering.
Yes, I think so.
So every month somebody hosts women's.
Like they go to Mad River Barn. And
Yeah.
I'm not sure which,
That's how I would
the
read
only
this.
versions of it that I've heard of have occurred at Emily's, but I don't think that they have always done this particular type of event.
Right.
And they might always occur at Emily's, but I think this is specific for August 6th.
Brian license is to be renewed one time. outside.
Where's that? Oh,
So this was approved through DLL, the woman's name is Violet, and I emailed back and forth with Violet as did Jen. She approved it, she showed proof that the landlord approved closing that road
Okay.
for that time frame. So technically, it's like, it's not totally different because it's been approved, like all the other stuff. But this, like Jen said, she'd never seen this before where you close a road for 2 hours. But there still would be access, it's not really taking up any parking spots.
Well, we don't
technically.
have jurisdiction there anyway, do we?
Yeah. No.
Well, you can approve the permit, that's, yeah.
The liquor permit.
Yep.
yeah, we don't have, we, if they wanted to close the driveway, they'd have to go to the DRB maybe, but, you know. But they wouldn't have, if they went to it on a permanent basis, this wouldn't cause any permit change. She's had a permit since 2018 and not aware of any problems.
Yeah. And the outside area in the back of the building is very clearly marked, like
Yeah.
it has a, something around the perimeter.
Are there any, could we, if there's any concerns or unanswered questions, I'm wondering if we could authorize approval subject to town administrator getting a satisfactory response? I don't have any concerns.
I don't have any problems.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah. Should we have a motion?
Make the motion to approve the one-time outside consumption permit for Emily's on August 6th from 5 to 7:30.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
All right.
Okay.
Unanimous?
All right, I'll check in with Emily again since she didn't respond to the email.
Yeah, just, those are the terms that we've approved, from 5 to 7:30 and one time.
Yep.
Town office elevator update. This has been an ongoing,
Yeah, it's been a little
Yeah.
confusing. basically, we talked last time that the elevator went out, the fire department came, because the alarm went off, et cetera, et cetera. Included in the packet are the two quotes. There are two quotes because technically the second quote for $2,751 does not have to be done. So first I'll say the first one. The first one for $8,525.75 is to replace that packing of these parts that are not included in the annual, like they inspect it every year. I have the list of what they do in the meeting packet. If you want me to go through that, we can, but it's in the town administrator report.
Page 3, I think.
So that is out and we have to replace that. That's $8,525. So and my understanding is we have to have an elevator. Right now, the town staff is willing to do what we need to allow to make sure that anyone that with any ADA compliance issues, we'd move a meeting downstairs and the office is doing great with that. But obviously we need to fix the elevator. The 2,751 is the hydraulic oil. Right now there's something in there, if I remember correctly, called NZ oil. It's kind of like a vegetable oil. When the elevator went in about 9-10 years ago, that was the standard practice in Vermont. Since then, they've gone away from that and are just wanting to use hydraulic oil. The part that we have to replace for $8,500, the life expectancy of that for the vegetable oil is about 5 years. So Otis's opinion was we did really well, almost making it to 9. And the life expectancy for the hydraulic oil is 10 years. So to change it will be $2,700. They don't have to change it. The reason that we took some time to get to this place is because I had to try to find out through the architect and the builder in terms of green building certified or LEED certified, whether we were allowed. I read some things that made me question: are we allowed to change to the normal hydraulic oil and be green building certified? And in the end, I believe we can. And Brian and Larissa and I talked about it a little bit when we were working on the agenda.
I missed the green building certification context.
Yeah, so I reached out to the architecture firm, they responded. I might have included that in the administrative report. So that's the general background, and so up for you guys is whether you want to do the 8,500 and or the 2,700. Is that?
We have to do the 87.
You have to do 87. Yep. Does that make sense? The question though, or the background?
And your understanding is using the old oil, Otis thinks it will provide a shorter life for the parts.
Yeah, they said we don't have to change it, but again, the life expectancy would be 5 years.
But what would the cost difference be?
Would we not have to change it, or would we have to change it with vegetable instead of?
No, they wouldn't change it. It would just so if we do not change the oil, it would be $8,525.
But we need to change the oil, right?
We don't have to.
Okay.
If we change the oil from the vegetable oil to the hydraulic oil, that will be $2,700 extra.
I think if that data is correct, that it gets us 5 more years, 10 instead of 5.
Life expectancy 10 instead of
And the
5.
part costs $8,500, probably more next
Today,
time.
yeah.
Then it makes economic sense to change the oil.
Yeah, I mean, I agreed, but I did want to make sure that the green building certified. That was something.
I just wanted to,
Yep, I agree with you.
in my thinking.
But we're not LEED certified, and we're not on the list of net zero buildings.
Okay.
That may have been just an administrative oversight as opposed to.
I think it was.
Yeah.
I think we were probably supposed to be, and maybe at some point something wasn't done. And that's according to are they an architecture firm?
Yes.
Yeah, the architecture firm, we're not on that map. So I think technically we did do everything to be green building certified, but
Did you ever talk to Bill Gallup?
I tried, I did not get a hold.
And just to be clear, do we want to get it on the map, or would having the wrong kind of oil take us out? Because I believe their architecture site says we designed the LEED certified,
I think that's correct.
the LEED certified town office.
And my understanding is if we already were LEED certified, they wouldn't recheck and be like, oh, do you still have vegetable oil? And that would not be, if I read Chris Cook's response correctly, that would keep us. But if we wanted to pursue that, then that's a question I can't answer.
Okay.
I don't know.
Where, trying to wonder where we are on town office maintenance.
This is gonna blow
Yeah.
our budget.
What line item were you looking at for
I don't remember. I just know for
13?
maintenance for the building,
repairs and
from,
maintenance? Yeah,
It's like-
we got 9,000.
yeah.
Yeah.
Last year we spent
I don't think so.
1,000.
How much?
1,000.
Yeah.
But we also do have some other deferred maintenance.
I was gonna say, there's a lot of deferred maintenance,
Yeah,
if
I
I
mean, this
understand
This is just,
correctly.
yeah.
Steve mostly is working pretty actively. I'm trying to find, it's hard to find. I think he found someone to do the concrete floors in the first floor. He's struggling to find a painter for the entrance and
For
exit.
the wood panels.
Mhm.
Line 19, the equipment maintenance and contracts is,
Equipment maintenance.
yeah, what does that cover typically?
We spent, just about spent it last year. It's probably the copier?
Copier, Otis,
Postage machine?
yeah, post machine, I think so. The, gosh, I'm drawing a blank, the propane thing, generator,
Okay,
So if we're maintaining it, it comes out of there.
that's right, the Otis like contract,
Okay.
which is
Even though
like,
both lines do say maintenance, so that's a little confusing.
that is confusing.
oh, it's taken a while for me to figure out coding for all of our stuff.
Well, we did finish the year with a $55,000 surplus on top of the other unassigned balance that we had. And it seems like we have to do it. The question is, well, as you said, it makes good financial sense to change the oil and get more value out of the repair.
Financially speaking, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah. Any problems?
I mean, is there any functional implication to not being listed? I mean, it sounds like the town office hasn't hurt for not being on this list.
No.
Right, like there's no
Okay.
tax implications,
yeah.
there's no.
And a net zero building, you can still be net zero, not LEED certified.
I see.
So
Okay.
it's bragging rights.
Yeah, which I tell people we're net zero.
Okay, so it's kudos, it's not like.
Which is not wrong.
No, it's not, it's just we're not on the list.
But there aren't any sort of other financial implications or anything like that. Okay. So I have no objection.
We did get some Vermont Energy Efficiency Vermont grants to do something.
That's true.
You don't remember what that was? Did you find? Okay.
No, but it's been mentioned by, I don't remember.
It didn't have
Maybe
anything to do with the
Chris.
elevator.
I doubt
No.
it.
It was probably enhanced.
Actually, that was my conversation with Bob Cook. And Bob Cook does know a lot.
Yes, he paid a lot of attention to this building.
So that's the
Wanna
background.
Go ahead with it?
Yeah, I would make a motion to approve the, repair, order invoice for 8,000, where'd it go? For $8,525.75 for the hydraulic plunger packing and then also separately, approve the oil change invoice for $2,751.88.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Hi.
Opposed? No. Unanimous, thanks. Just a quick update on the Farley Riverside Park. I wanted to put it on the agenda because there is some activity. Just if you recall, we were approached by friends and family of Virginia Farley after she passed away about commemorating her long years of conservation activity in the valley and especially in Waitsfield by renaming the Tardy property. It was pretty much an unused piece of property. It's the Virginia Farley Riverside Park. Raised over $50,000 to work with that. We approved a proposal to use some of that money to hire a landscape architect and a bench builder, because there was a key component of her legacy is this stone bench that was an important part of her childhood in Ireland. There's been a plan submitted to the Conservation Commission a few months ago actually. They had some really good input on it. We kind of scaled back some things. Currently, we're working towards a revised plan. I met with JB to see what kind of permitting would be required. And he's looking into that. And I also met with Charlie Goodman to talk about parking. And the idea is to design a small 6-spot parking area. The idea behind the park, I think we've talked about before, is it to be a very low-key, kind of contemplative place with some walking paths, and maybe some small information regarding stewardship and land ethics. And initially, one of the designs and what came out of the Conservation Commission feedback was part of her conservation legacy is agriculture, and Hadley Gaylord does hay the property. His vegetable farm is adjacent to it, and he accesses the vegetable farm through this. I think it's in, I don't believe it's a permanent right-of-way, but it's been handy over the years. We looked at a couple of parking options and decided to try to minimize it as much as possible and bring it as less conspicuous as possible, both from the park, from impacts on adjacent agricultural land, and also from Route 100. And we're working through those designs, and I guess there was a hope that there would be kind of a soft opening and a celebration in late October, which would require whatever permits are required, and probably a Route 100 access, because it's an agricultural access now. We need to look into that. I'm wondering, we're going to have an amended draft site design, hopefully this week or next, depending on the information I get. Should I put that on the agenda to have folks take a look at it at the next meeting? Because ultimately, it's Select Board's decision what kind of improvements are made to the park.
That'd be a good idea.
Okay. Yeah. I'll see if Cynthia Knopf, who's the designer, can zoom in, and we'll have some maps. We'll do that. Hopefully, some of these things will be answered. Are there any just based on that? I feel like we've been doing slow talking about this, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, wait a minute, we had a deadline, and we need to make some decisions that haven't been finalized yet. There's been a lot of just kicking ideas around.
So is there a vision for what the soft open require, what's the minimum viable?
I think it would be having the bench installed and a plaque, and having a celebration.
Can you walk there from LaRue?
Not easily, not without getting your feet wet,
Okay.
or walking across Route 100.
Okay.
You can walk under the bridge
On the path.
from LaRue to the LaRue farm,
Okay, all right.
but not on this side of the bridge.
How would you do a soft opening if there's more than 6 cars parked at the Catholic Church?
That would be the idea.
Oh, okay.
It's literally across the street from the Catholic Church.
Makes a lot of sense.
And I just added it to the agenda. for next
Okay,
time.
great.
So we just need to ask them about parking.
That's probably a good idea. And then, and Brian, I'll start looking into that driveway. I'll
Okay,
just check
good,
with
thank you.
V-Trans and see what we need to do.
Rectangular rapid flashing beacon, RRFB, second unit. Where's,
So just first, I'm gonna say, we ordered the first one for the crossing at the elementary school, Jenner Way House, April 30th, and I was starting to get anxious that we hadn't heard. It turns out that the solar components were taking a long time to come, to get to their factory. They're there now, so they can assemble our unit that we ordered. They can actually assemble 2 at the same time, so I'm fast forwarding. Josh Schwartz, I, and 3 V-Trans people met on Carroll Road last week to discuss a second unit there. As we know, there's a tragic history at that crossing. The V-Trans agrees it's a great spot for it, for multiple reasons. In their opinion, probably the best spot in Waitsfield for an RRFB. And they don't foresee any problems in terms of getting a permit, which is great news. Josh Schwartz and I are going to do it together this week because he did the last one. Because there's some CAD, and you have to drop the pin and stuff, so he can teach me how to do that. I talked to Scott, who's the salesman for who we ordered the first one through, and he's willing to give us the same price for this one as he gave us for the last one, which was 10% off on sale. So it was, I actually printed it, I was thinking about bringing it, but I didn't. It's like $7,100 and some dollars.
For
So-
one?
Well, it's, yeah,
Or for
one on
two?
both sides. I mean, it's one unit.
No, no,
So, but
for
both,
there and the school.
we already ordered that one. There's
And
$7,100.
that's paid for.
That's paid for. We have a grant for 19,000. So I reached out to the grantee and said, hey, we actually have enough funds for a second unit. And they said, if you can get 2 units for the price, I'm not gonna argue with that. So this should totally be paid for by the grant, refunded. Really the only stipulation is that it has to be in the ground and have to do all the paperwork by January 25th, which should not be a problem. They expect delivery by the end of September.
Great.
So that's what I'm requesting, is if you're for it, approving the purchase of a second RFB unit, which is 2 units for each side of Route 100, to be delivered and then installed probably in October.
Yeah, I love that location that connects Lawson to the village and the Big Pick to the village.
And then there's one more element to it. Because of the right-of-way for Route 100, there's like a boardwalk that goes along Carroll Road. And then on Main Street, Route 100, there's one sidewalk with the footprint for ADA accessibility. Very much like us for that to be a sidewalk, an ADA compliant sidewalk connecting the two. They said that we can do that in one permit, so apply for the RFP and for the sidewalk. And so I would like to do that. Josh Rogers is working on giving me a contractor that could do that work. It should be pretty minimal. And Brian and I talked, and we think there's funds for, is it called sidewalk fund?
The sidewalk reserve.
Sidewalk reserve. So I think that would probably be worth doing at the same time, because these permits take a while anyway, and to be efficient, it would be smart, and it should be ADA compliant since we're putting all this work in. And then if you have any other questions, like there's the blind sign there, for the person that's blind in town, that we will not need to use anymore, because the RFB is above and beyond. And Josh Schwartz and I are talking about doing like an education. So when it goes in, we'll talk to the person, show them how to use it so that they're familiar. I think that's the majority of the request or the information.
The last I remember, you were having trouble finding somebody to install it.
We are. I mean, if push comes to shove, it will be our road crew.
Mm-hmm.
And I talked to Josh about it today, and he said he will do it.
Is
I
it
mean,
a big
happily,
deal? Is it a big deal?
no.
It's a couple posts?
No, as a matter of fact, I've talked to a couple companies when we were doing this, and they said they used to offer connections, and they're like, it's so easy to do.
Okay.
It's just not worth it, anymore, because most times they just do it themselves.
Yeah, okay.
Because they're not wireless, but the wire runs through the pole. It's like easy.
You just take the loader and press the pole into the ground?
Well, it has to be a clean cutoff, just
Yeah.
like fire extinguishers and stuff. So, and it comes with everything except the pole. So the pole we will have to buy. Poles.
Any discussion?
So it sounds like we're looking for a motion to approve the purchase of a second RRFB.
And I can.
And
Unit.
Do you want that motion to be also to move ahead with the little sidewalk extension?
I mean, that's up to you guys, but I think that would be reasonable, yeah, to request the permit and then, and we're already working kind of on getting a quote once we find a contractor. So yeah, I mean, that would be efficient.
I'm for efficiency. All right, well, I would move that we approve the purchase of a second RFB unit for the Main Street and Carroll Road crosswalk, and also apply for, or begin the application process for the 1111 permit, including the installation of a proper ADA compliant sidewalk
Quick question.
at that location.
Yeah.
Would the money for the sidewalk improvement come from the remainder of the grant if it is less than,
The sidewalk improvement?
yeah?
No.
Okay, so there will be some overage probably in the grant amount, and then the sidewalk improvement will come from,
The sidewalk reserve.
Sidewalk.
The Transportation Path Reserve has $59,000 at the end of last fiscal year.
And if it helps, the motion, the quote for the new unit is $7,154.10, which is exactly what we paid for the first. That's a
7,100.
54.10.
Okay.
my question is over. Answered, thank you.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye.
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 Cool.
Garage sale permit application. I was looking here, you sent the application form,
Mm-hmm.
and I, for some reason, not finding the policy itself, or the ordinance itself.
Oh, I didn't even think about it. I'm not sure I've ever seen it.
It's probably on one piece of paper. Well,
For the record, our ordinances and policies and permits are like in multiple places in the office, and I have worked on putting them together, and I've gotten some,
Yeah.
and I've had to search for some, which has not always been easy, and
That'd be in our zoning bylaws?
that could be.
Well,
It would not surprise me if it was never digitized, because it was written back in the 70s.
well, Fred, you raised the issue at our last meeting about this being unnecessary and probably not very frequently enforced or used. I think that's what I've heard over the years as well. My only, I'm a little reluctant just to say, I don't know what the process is for, if it's an ordinance or a policy. If it's an ordinance, we may need to take some formal action on it, so we should probably figure that out.
Yeah, I should have done more homework.
Yeah.
And I also just want to make sure that we're not opening ourselves up to a situation where something becomes a commercial operation, by 24/7 retail. I don't think that's likely.
And it should be covered by other,
I was thinking it should be covered by zoning,
exactly,
yeah.
exactly.
Mhm.
I would like to see this thing rescinded. I don't see any valid purpose for it. And I remember when it was enacted and it was under dubious.
And how often is it being used? Do we know?
Those are all good questions. I just think that we should answer them before we
agree.
rescind it. But
I was just
agree
making
with
sure
you,
that
Fred,
was-
we ought to move forward with rescinding it.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's kind of, I probably should have done more homework. I guess I should have asked more questions 2 weeks ago. In terms of moving forward and what should I figure out, and I didn't ask those questions and then didn't do anything, so.
Because we also have a vendor policy or
Ordinance.
ordinance, and I'm wondering whether there's any relationship between those and how that's defined. So
It was a knee-jerk reaction at the time. And I've never cared for this ordinance. And a lot of people enjoy doing garage sales, and people enjoy going for them.
No doubt.
And this is sort of an encumbrance to that. I would really like to see it. What
Yeah.
more exploring do we really need to do before?
What's that?
What more research do we really need to do before?
well, I think we should, one, I want to make sure that we can, if it's an ordinance, how do
Yeah.
you
We
do we
send
have
an
the authority
ordinance?
to rescind it without having a public hearing or something like that? And I just would like to, I'd like to read it and take a look at the zoning, maybe ask the planning commission if they have any thoughts or concerns, but I think it's all doable within a pretty short amount of time.
Yeah, if it's okay, I'll try to get all that homework done in the next 2 weeks.
Okay.
And then have more answers, because you're right.
I
In
don't want to
hindsight,
see
it's
it to
obvious.
make a big mountain out of this, just,
Yeah,
Yeah, it may be something simple.
yeah.
I would think a vote of
it
the
is.
select board to rescind her.
But I still want to
Ordinance.
rescind an ordinance I haven't read.
Yeah.
We can't.
So that's the,
find.
that's,
We
that's
can't
the,
find.
that's
Maybe
the
that's the
first
reason they're
thing,
saying-
that's the first homework, to see if we can find said ordinance or
Yeah.
policy
It's
or.
always good to know how we're exactly supposed to rescind an ordinance, if there's anything
Yeah.
extra
That's true.
besides just voting to rescind.
Well, we're in the process for the water, which will, so we need to learn that anyway.
Yeah,
Okay,
point.
cool.
Okay.
Good.
Transition to .gov emails.
So the town officially subscribed to Microsoft 365 last week. We're paid for 12 months. That includes for all 5 select board members. I officially have a .gov email address as of about noon today. It's not quite up and running yet because there's some merging with our old that has to happen. I think Henry would like to come to the meeting at about 6 o'clock in 2 weeks, as in this meeting, and just all of us, the select board, set up your .gov together and just walk you through how to do it, because that's what he would like to do, and that sounds fine to me. It will be a lot easier for you guys because you're not going to merge emails. Well, you have a special email.
I mean,
but-
I have a separate email, but I can do my own homework and just like forward them to it doesn't need to be merged. I can just do some legwork on the back end, that's fine.
So anyway, that's the gist of the .gov. And actually, I put in 1,000 when I wrote this. When it was all said and done, it was $780 or some dollars, which is what it's going to be a year for. I don't remember exactly how many accounts there are, but there's, the delinquent tax collector, clerk, treasurer, road foreman, 5 select board members, et cetera, et cetera. And every single one is just the person's name except the delinquent tax collectors. It's just delinquent tax collector. And that actually, it took a lot of work with Henry, myself, and EcoPixel was our website.
So then like
Design.
town clerk is just going to be,
Town clerk is Jen.Peterson.
okay,
Delinquent tax collector, since it is Jen, that's just gonna be the delinquent, and we'll just transfer that to the next delinquent tax collector.
Quick question on just that, the email addresses, do we want, I assume, when the next town clerk sadly is in office, will we merge all that email
Yep.
from Jen?
Yep, so the goal will be, but then,
But we
and I
don't
don't
want the email
understand.
to be town clerk at Waitsfield?
No, and that's intentional, that it's the person's name. And part of it, as my understanding, is like, it adds a layer of complication for any cyber attacks, because then they don't know who the clerk is, we don't know who the treasurer is, they'd have to scrape the website. That's a term I learned. So it adds a layer of complexity, but you don't lose that historical knowledge, because then you just merge that old with the new. And I don't understand this great.
I was gonna say,
'Cause
and that
it's
would be
pretty
something that
complicated.
Henry would assist with, or that EcoPixel would assist with?
Henry,
Okay.
yeah, and I guess EcoPixel too.
Because I get nervous when there's like one point and no redundancy of, well, maybe that's just me. If there's one person who is able to do a thing that we're gonna need to do in the future and we don't know what that one person's plans are. Like if we could, in some fashion, figure out before we need to, what needs to happen for
I mean,
migrating
yeah.
email.
I mean, we'll always have an IT person,
Okay.
because we have to. And this is something IT people do. I mean, there's some questions, because GMABT is very different from everything else. Like if we were Gmail or anything else, the process would look a lot different.
Okay.
And so I added to the agenda, but then Henry basically said we need to do this. So I approved that charge for Microsoft 365. So that's done. Okay?
To no action.
Nope.
And want to move on to the wastewater project, finance committee for wastewater project, also USDA loan acceptance.
So there's a few things. First, if it's okay, and it's in the administrator report, I didn't actually put in there, we'd love to work on setting a date for a workshop. Just because it's hard to find dates. In the town administrator report, our group, Bob Cook and Josh Schwartz and everyone, our favorite date is Wednesday, September 24th. Probably like a noon or 1 o'clock to like 4.
September.
Yep. Yeah, sorry if I didn't say
No, you did.
that. So is that okay if we can start looking into planning that? And if not now, maybe just start looking at your calendars when you do it in 2 weeks?
That works for me.
I can block that out. That's
Yeah.
enough in advance.
Yeah.
And that will be a hybrid meeting, I'm assuming, or does it
I think we
need
can,
to
I
be-
think we'll be in person,
Okay.
but we can do a hybrid for sure.
Okay, I
There's
just,
no-
I still don't, I have some doctor's appointment
Yeah, there's
dates
no
that are
reason
still
we
up in the
can't,
air.
no, we'll-
Okay,
And it needs to be an open meeting anyway,
Mhm.
so. But yeah, and planning for that's gonna take our ATT team a lot, so that's great. So we're okay, September 24th?
Yep.
Do you wanna call a time, or just whenever we
What did
figure it
you
out?
suggest? What would folks prefer?
I mean, our group even talked about having like, kind of like a little type of lunch type thing, with like finger food and stuff at noon, and then start a little bit.
No, it's just.
Fred loves that idea. You just wanna go at 1 o'clock then?
I guess I'd rather do morning if that's possible, although I could go with the afternoon too.
I don't remember, for some reason, people definitely wanted afternoon, I can't remember why.
Okay, that's fine then.
Okay.
Okay, should we go 1
So it's a
o'clock?
whole group to that, okay. If they want finger food, fine.
Should we go? We're just trying to make sure you have fun, Fred.
I'm looking forward to it.
There was, everyone did not agree on time, some people thought it would be 2 to 3 hours, some people thought it would be 3 to 4 hours.
I
So I
think
figured,
as-
plan on
3 to
3.
4
I was
You
gonna
guys
s-
figured it out, I got the day blocked out.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right,
12 to 4.
Is that all right, Larissa?
yeah.
Oh, yeah, I was gonna say, I would, based on the subject and the parties involved, I would err on the side of it taking more time than less, probably.
I mean, we'll try to be out by midnight.
Okay,
Um,
super.
Tell me again the date, please.
September 24th,
It's a Wednesday,
and I did do that right? That is actually Wednesday?
Yes.
Okay.
yes.
So, why don't we talk USDA rural
Yeah.
development funding first? That, I've been really working hard to get that package, and I failed. But we did receive an email today to D&K, to the engineer, with one final question, so I think that's gonna come literally the next couple of days.
Now, when you say you failed, it's to get the response from USDA that you were hoping for and
Yeah.
anticipate.
Okay,
it
so I
wasn't
feel
a
like
me- It wasn't a mess.
No,
I feel
yeah,
like
I'm sorry.
characterizing that as
Yeah,
your
no,
failure.
sorry, I was
Too
really,
active of her.
I was
Yeah.
really trying to get it for tonight,
Okay.
and that did not occur. Because they are gonna need the yellow light on whether we're gonna take it, and again, it's a yellow light, not a green light or red light, because it's saying, yes, we're interested in it, please don't give it to someone else. It means that we'll have access to this package. We don't know how much it's gonna be loans, we don't know how much it's gonna be grant, we know it's gonna be a mix, but we don't know how much. But before your next meeting, we are gonna have to say yes or no. So, essentially, I'm asking you if I can sign that authorization when the package comes for the USDA rural development funding.
Thought we did that last month.
I don't think so. We talked about it.
We did, yeah, we talked, I don't think we took action, but we did say.
Well, I
this
don't
was
think
coming.
that, I think we were hoping that the package was going to be here in
Yes.
time
thought it would
for,
And
for
then it
this
would be-
meeting, and then it wouldn't require a special action to sort of grant authorization, but I
And there's
think-
other alternatives. I mean, we could send it out and, but then you start encroaching on open meeting laws and stuff, and.
So just to be clear,
Yeah.
implications of saying yes to the yellow light are,
My understanding is August 6th, as of now, is still the date that we have to say yes or no, or we don't respond at all, which is a no. The yellow light, which is what they call it, means that they're not gonna give it to someone else. It means it's ours to use, but if we don't move forward with the project, then we lose the funding.
So
Like,
yellow
it's-
light-
We're not stuck with
yellow
those
light holds it
loans.
till August 6th, or?
I don't know the
No,
timeframe.
I'm pretty sure they need to, they'll hold it as of August 6th.
They need the yellow light by
Yes.
August 6th.
Yeah. and
Yeah, I
then
mean,
if-
because it will take a couple of years to probably.
We're not obligated if for some reason.
Yeah, that was my question.
Yeah, yeah.
That's obligated is the right word. Yep, that's my understanding, and we had quite a few talks about it. So, I mean, I don't think there's an issue with you guys giving that green light for me to sign it. But that's up to you all.
Right,
Yeah, I'm,
I-
I'm fine with that, but just keep us in the loop once it comes in.
And when it comes in, I mean, I'll include it in next meeting packet. And that will be the beginning of a big frenzy, which is why the task force is wishing for the select board to basically recommend or approve our recommendation to start a wastewater finance committee, this is the perfect time with the USDA package about to be delivered, with a grant that we're going to be applying for next month. So that
The scope of what the finance committee would do includes,
I mean, right now, there's probably a lot of questions, because we don't know what the package is gonna look like. We don't know exactly what the grant's gonna look like, 'cause, as of now, my vision for the grant that we're applying for, the Catalyst grant, is going to be to pay for the majority of the pipe from Irisville to the elementary school, for example. So there's still a lot of questions, because we don't have the USDA package yet. We don't know the other loans we're looking at, but it's to look at all the scenarios for the wastewater project.
and
And
am I
it's
correct
complicated.
in understanding that the USDA package will only be for phase one? Right?
That is our understanding.
Okay. Cool.
So, a motion to authorize town administrator to accept the offer of funding from USDA, understanding that the town won't be obligated to refund the money if it's not spent.
Make that motion.
I would second.
All in favor? Aye?
Aye.
That's great. I mean,
And as
there's,
far as the committee, I guess, could the task force come up with some suggestions for some names?
we can do whatever you want. If you want us to, let's create it and go forward, we can do that. If you want us to supply names, we can do that. I mean, that's up to you.
Yes, I probably want to know who's on it, but I don't know that we need to, endorse it and say, do it as a board.
Yeah, well, I think our thinking was making sure the select board's part of the process as much as possible. So just even you all being aware that we want to create a subcommittee, a finance committee, just trying to keep the communication open.
Yeah, just knowing who it was would suffice for me.
What's the process for creating an ad hoc committee like that? Like, what happened with the?
My understanding is the ETT, the task force, it just happened. That's Josh
I don't
Schwartz's
remember,
memory.
yeah, I know that we appointed the ARPA advisory committee. And, the General White House Commission is a more formal standing committee, it's not an ad hoc committee. I think, why don't you see if they can appoint it and put the list in a consent agenda?
Okay,
And if somebody has a problem with, somebody, or has an idea for somebody else who they know would be willing, we can just pull it off the agenda and deal with it.
okay, that's great.
Okay.
That's that.
All right, speaking of the consent agenda, it's a better format.
What's that?
It's a better format.
What is my consent agenda?
Yeah. Last year's
It was-
caused a little confusion.
It was a
That's
little
what
confusing.
yeah.
I was like, yeah, that's confusing. You win some, you lose some.
I move to approve the consent agenda.
Second,
Second.
all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
I can't technically approve the minutes if I wasn't there, right?
That's good. Well,
You could have watched the video, I suppose.
anyhow, so
You
select
mean,
board
you mean,
roundtable.
because you read. Yeah, no, I think you're right.
Select board roundtable? Dave, do you have anything?
I have a quick thing that I just talked about with Jen and encountered on Facebook and Front Porch Forum, which is the dumping of furniture and litter on Common Road and possibly some other places, and a lot of fighting on social media
Which
about it.
road?
It's at the triangle of
We're
where
north.
Common Road comes into Joslin Hill,
Oh, yeah.
the Waitsfield Common. I think there's been furniture and stuff being left there, and then it's being destroyed by a town resident who is sending a message of don't dump it here. A little bit of a big mess on social media, so,
Is this Front Porch Forum?
yeah, Front Porch Forum or Facebook,
I've been away,
I can
so
send
I
them to you. But just to think about whether we want an ordinance that would do something beyond, I think right now it's being prevented by trespass laws, or possibly some state laws, which I haven't researched, but whether we want to have a fine for not availing all the different ways you could get rid of your stuff and instead dumping it on Common Road or anywhere else on down property.
It was also just
Littering.
on,
Littering.
it was just down at LaRoe.
Do we have a littering ordinance?
I had to pick it up. I don't think so.
Yeah.
What was that, Laura?
A lot of trash
Oh.
inside.
Yeah, but this is like a dresser. This is like people's big items that,
And putting it on, I haven't, as I said, I haven't read the last
Yeah.
six Front Porch Forums.
yeah.
It's happening like a lot?
Apparently, it's been a
Crazy.
conversation for a couple of weeks, and then today it was just, there are some strong words, so, anyway, just to bring it up and whether we want a dumping ordinance or littering ordinance that would allow, a fine to be levied beyond.
Enforcing that would be very tricky.
And Fred, we talked about it when we talked about some places in Waitsfield Village and a few months ago when there was some complaints of rats. And that's when I found out we don't have anything on the books, is my understanding.
Hmm.
But, right, didn't we talk about it? Yeah.
Yeah, what was happening was people were composting without using a good container. They were just basically dumping it on the corner of their lawn,
It goes to show,
attracting rats. And
it goes to show how complicated this ordinance could be. Because it
I
could
can-
like cover a lot.
town health officer can address that in that it's a public health hazard.
Okay, yeah.
So town health officer doesn't need an ordinance for that.
Right, that's different than what Dave's talking
Yeah,
about.
and haven't caught up on all of the things, but I think some of the tension is between the sort of buy nothing, free stuff economy,
Yep.
and tradition of putting things on the side of the road and having it say free, versus, which I personally have done, but I've also done that on my personal property.
Yeah, I think
I was
that's
gonna
fine.
say, I
Yeah.
think that's.
Yeah, not town property.
That's fine.
But also
Well-
people drive by my house a lot, whereas I think that's probably not true for some folks, so.
Right.
Which I think is
No,
part
just
of,
wanted to bring it up and we can think about it.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely shouldn't be on town property.
Right.
I'd be open to see what, a little bit of,
I should circle back with JB and see.
that would be good if he could maybe just do a little bit of research.
And is it perceived it's more than one person that's parking this stuff there?
That was my perception, but
Just a person?
my perception was that it was more than one.
More than
More
one
than one
individual
party's doing it, yeah.
thinking that this is okay.
But I could be wrong.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
And I didn't put the next,
and
There's a few
VLCT
things
might
from
have
this report.
some,
Brian, there's a few things from the report I want to touch on when you guys are done.
Okay.
Because if it is a person and we know who, we could ask the constable to just stop by and ask them politely not to do that anymore.
Yeah, if they can be caught on camera or in the act, yeah.
Oh, so we don't know who it
I don't.
is. Okay.
but if it's public property, is there an expectation of privacy there? We can put a little game
There were-
camera?
There were many discussions of putting cameras up.
Okay.
I'm surprised, so there's not a
But
ring
they were
camera.
by private citizens, not by the.
There's not a ring camera facing that direction.
I don't think so right now. Anyway, that's it for me
So how
currently.
do you wanna move forward?
I just wanted to bring it up and think about add it to our potential ordinance, discussion.
I'll start with talking to JB.
Yeah.
Like I said, my understanding is we don't have any type of policy on the books. And I'm sure there's best practice out there for ways to move forward with this if the select board wants to.
Doesn't VLCT have resources for
Yeah, the municipal
kind of
assistance
thing?
center might be a
Ish.
place to start.
ish?
Ish, yeah.
Okay.
That's a
Yeah,
conversation
so
for
I
another
don't
day.
need any action today, but just wanted to add it to our,
No, I think that's
our
a
list
good-
of potential
It's a good reminder.
ordinances to investigate.
I think it's circling back to this, like, it feels like it's come full circle a few times since I started here, that question. In different iterations, but still basically about trash ordinance. So it might be time.
Only other thing roundtable wise, I'm having an informal get together with a couple of select board members there's one from Moortown and one from Warren, reached out to me about doing some sort of potentially like intertown road calm or traffic calming measures, and just to sort of sit down and brainstorm. I have no idea what, if anything, will come of that, but I'm looking forward to getting folks' insight, but especially on sort of roads that go between all the different towns, it could be an opportunity to work together.
That would be amazing.
When Larissa mentioned this to me, I mentioned that I talked to Goodman about striping East Warren Road. I found that it's a state responsibility because it's a class 1 road. But we talked about the wider Bridge Street and whether the northern side of it that was widened for pedestrian traffic could be painted, you know, a different color, marked as like the green, like
Green or
they do
something.
bike lanes
Yep.
and
Uh-huh.
like, and I drove home through Middlebury today, and they recently had striped their crosswalks purple and green and blue, and it really popped. And it reminded me of when I was in Bethel, Maine a couple of years ago, where they had local artists do their crosswalks. I can't imagine V-Trans would allow that, but I just want to throw it out there. Is there, if there's a chance on town roads to do something a little unconventional, we should be open to that.
That's interesting, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, South Burlington has a green stripe right down the, what route is that? Two.
Spear Street.
Waterbury
Route
does
two.
for bike lanes.
For a bike lane,
Yeah.
they got a green stripe, and that's for the bikes.
Yeah,
And that goes right into Taft's Corners and everything.
yeah, so,
I do think that having something that visually narrows the stretch of like wide blacktop is necessary to get people to slow down.
Yeah, and the hope would
Channelize
be,
them.
I know they changed, like in the old days, I think 12-foot was the norm,
They
and
went
now
to
they're
11
going more
foot
to like
lanes.
11-foot, and so hopefully if they do that intentionally where the right side going towards the bridge is bigger,
yeah.
I hope they do it right, and communicating with V-Trans usually takes multiple efforts, so. But eventually, usually, have good conversation with them eventually. So I'm hoping to
Oh, also,
talk to them.
I forgot I had one other thing. Bridge, the covered bridge, I don't think there's a sign saying what to do, to go one at a time, is that right?
I don't think so.
I don't know, it's
It
just there's
is
stop sign.
understood by most locals that you go one at a time. In other places, including neighboring states, many of the covered, where there's more people, there's two at a time. And so there have been a couple of times that people ask me about where, I'm going two at a time, or have not, there's no sign, there's no
You
instruction.
see, I always consider that there's a stop sign on either end. A stop sign is the first person to the intersection goes, so one car goes,
Yep.
the next person's the first person, he goes. The
Are
next
there
person's the
actual
first
stop
person.
signs?
Yeah,
Or are they, okay,
There are-
are they
yeah.
just,
Oh, yeah.
oh, just stripes? I
Yeah,
don't
so that might be
I don't
enough,
remember.
but.
So you're running a stop sign if you're.
Might also
tag
consider a
onto
sign
that.
that says one car at a time or something.
It's
But-
working well.
but I think there are times that two people will go over, like, oh, and you just
It's more
follow.
efficient.
And
Yeah.
it's way, yeah,
I think
but
it's just, it's people who,
aren't locals.
Don't know better.
or just, people who are.
The problem is I just got a second person, and they were complaints, but 2 in 1 week about how the boards are getting looser. And this goes to the, in terms of the sheriff's office, talking about, do we wanna do an ordinance that says that they can ticket overweight? Like I talked to Josh Rogers, and he said his truck's overweight technically for that, and he would be excluded from that ordinance. But it all speaks to the same thing, is, if 2 cars going over, it's overweight, and it's creating more wear and tear on the.
That's a
on the
great point
bridge.
also.
That's a good point.
So,
That's a good point.
yeah,
That settles
That-
that. as
And
far
again,
as
that
I'm
would be
concerned.
able to be ticketed, I think, if 2 people are going through, that would be,
So just to think about if we want a sign
I'd
that says
look at
one
it.
car at a time.
Our traffic ordinance, that sets speed limits, whether the stop sign is ticketable. Is that,
Well, if a second car goes over, if nothing else, if we did make an ordinance that said you can ticket for overweight,
Yeah.
I would see that as the second car is making it go overweight,
Yeah.
which would be
or
ticketable.
just make it as running a stop sign?
Well, but if they aren't necessarily running a stop sign, I think that the scenario
both
that you're
stopping.
talking about is if there's somebody in each direction, but if there's only traffic in one direction, and they do
Oh, you're
technically
saying
stop,
two-
but like
two
two
vehicles
cars in
Got
the,
two vehicles in, so I was misunderstanding you, so you're
Well-
saying when you have two vehicles in the bridge at the same time, that's
Yes.
the problem.
sort of the
Well,
scenarios
that-
under which
that's
that could occur.
An aspect of the problem. The other
Yeah.
aspect is the person on the other side gets mad.
Right,
Yeah.
if there is another person on the other side, but sort of any scenario in which there might be two cars in the bridge at the same time is probably overweight.
And are we still waiting on the bridge?
Yes.
Headache
measures.
bar.
I mean, I probably should circle back with Miles, I've done it multiple times, but actually, I mean, Josh Rogers wants me to actually ask Miles about the boards that are loose. I don't know if he's a little nervous because I think they might be leg bolts that hold the boards down. Because like I said, multiple people have raised concern about them being loose, especially people that live in the vicinity, because I guess they've gotten really loud.
Oh, yeah. If he can take a look at it, yeah.
If that's it, there's just a couple of things I want to go over on the administrative
Yeah.
report.
Yeah. Oh,
Round
sorry.
table. I got a call from one of our two recipients of our ag property relief
Hmm.
and was wondering why they didn't receive their usual agricultural relief on their property taxes, and I explained it. It didn't.
I explained it to both of them too
Did
last
you?
March and had an email exchange with both of them.
You did, okay.
Yes.
And I wonder why they were reaching out to me today.
Today,
Huh?
I've had several conversations with one of them as well, who very much would like the select board to consider putting it in the town meeting next year, to have that added.
And what I told them was they could approach us when we're in budget season and town meeting season. We can't do it, we're not gonna have, only the voters can authorize it.
Yeah.
We can't. So.
And why did it come off again? I know we talked about it last
It
week.
fell through the cracks, and it is a program that predated the state current use program. So not many, there's only two properties who were using it, both of which are eligible for current use, which is a program that reimburses the town as opposed to the town, other taxpayers subsidizing it.
And was that discussed with those landowners?
I suggested that they do current use, and I also talked with one of the farmers who farms one of the properties. I didn't talk to the other one, it's two different farmers. But, I mean, there's really nothing we can do now until we get to town meeting.
And they very much wanted us to do something, and I said, my understanding is you have to wait till the next fiscal year.
Was that your message, Fred?
Yeah, basically. I strongly encourage them to get in the current use program, because we wanted to get out of it.
I mean, I don't think we decided as a board or a town we want to get out of it. I certainly would want to have that conversation before we put it before the voters again.
And it partially fell through the cracks, Dave, because it's every 3 years. It doesn't have to be approved. I think that's my understanding, it's every 3 years.
And so it wasn't on last year's ballot, we didn't have a town administrator doing the budget
Got
and
it.
capital, we just, it didn't happen.
I'd hope they didn't apply for current use because it's more advantageous, right?
Yeah, I think for everybody.
For everybody.
Yeah.
That's what I
But
mean.
It's
the
win-win-win.
problem, the downside, I think, is I don't think we have any penalty for withdrawing, whereas current use, if you early withdraw, there are some
Yep.
financial penalties.
Maybe
Clawbacks,
that's why.
yeah.
So that should be an article for town meeting.
Well, I think we need to decide, we do our warning for next year.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Good stuff happening over to the White House.
Yeah,
Painted, shutters are going on within a few days. New roof.
The roof looks great.
The roof looks great. It really does.
And we just got we took the final payment out of the warrant because it's about $9,000 less than we approved for, because there was no rot,
Oh,
and there was
Just a little bit
no-
around the chimney.
And it turned out there was 5 inches of insulation over the addition. Everyone was surprised.
Oh, wow.
And so so that's
Alright.
really good. Do you guys mind if I spend just a few minutes on the town administrator report? Are you ready?
yeah, no, please.
Please.
So the town garage RFP, I've spoken with Charlie Goodman and Tyler Billingsley, who's our town engineer, at length. And basically, moral of the story is my hope is to have a draft of the RFP to you guys in 2 weeks, which would be great. There's a bit in here about shared use sidewalks in Irisville and Waitsfield Village. If you have any questions, let me know. There were some concerns by some people when they saw the meeting packet about bikes using sidewalk. So I did extra research. I'm happy to share that with you another time if you'd like, or I can talk about it now. But essentially, it's pretty common in Vermont towns for kids, for example, to use sidewalks to bicycle. I personally wouldn't let my 8-year-old bicycle on Route 100.
100%.
So, and this came from the path, this came from Misha, just, I think because sometimes there are people, and so the rule would be, it's about re-education, and making sure people know that bicyclists always yield to pedestrians.
But I don't think bicycles belong on, adult bicyclists.
Adult, 100%,
Adult
everyone agrees.
bicyclists should not be
Yep.
on the sidewalk.
Yeah, so this would be
Except if you're
about
going with your
youth.
kids, you kind of have to be with them. Yeah.
Extenuating circumstances.
So this would be for
yeah.
youth,
But I guess it doesn't say that. Does it imply that it's okay for
I-
adults to be bicycling?
for starters, a lot of towns have written policy on this, and so of what a sidewalk can be used for, we don't, I assume.
You could have a very nervous adult.
I actually was walking
Yeah.
just last week, walking on the sidewalk, and a woman kind of yelled behind me saying, I'm sorry, I'm coming up behind you, I'm too nervous to be on Route 100.
Oh, there you
It's
go.
like, I
Which I
personally,
was like, okay.
Well,
maybe
I
you
don't
should be on a
hear
bike.
so well forward,
Yeah,
and I definitely don't hear very well to the rear.
So my idea also, when I talked to
Definitely
Misha
there's
about
some
this,
Yeah.
in terms of an education, is like maybe even like getting little, like maybe we can get free bing 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 bells and like give them out as like education and being like
We
this
were
is.
just talking about putting green stripes on the pavement for bicyclists. For adult bicyclists, that's
Yes.
where they belong.
I agree, and that is most towns, that is across the board. This is usually for 12 and under, but to Dave's point, like if he's biking with his kids, but the moral story is that bikes yield. And
Yeah, that's
bikes
that's
are
non-
not
that's
currently necessarily
non-negotiable.
happening. And so that's part of what it's about.
but
is
this says shared
re-educating the public.
sidewalk, which says bikes are allowed on the sidewalk.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is one that
That's-
Emily came up with, which is the AmeriCorps person.
Yeah.
And so
No.
it's just, this can be changed, it can be like, children can ride your bikes, I mean, I don't know the way you ride it, but 12 and under, I don't know what
I haven't experienced it being a problem. Every once in a while, a kid is on a bike.
yeah,
I don't mind the kids,
I agree.
but I used to walk the sidewalks a lot down in Williston. And someone comes behind you, adult. One
Sure.
time they said on the right or on the left, and I didn't hear clearly what they said.
Sure.
I dodged the wrong way. We sorted it out, but it, it's, when you're just walking, an adult bicycler going by you is a fast-moving vehicle.
Yeah,
I don't believe they belong on the sidewalk.
yeah, and so maybe it's not a problem. My guess is Misha's probably gotten complaints about bicyclists on the sidewalk and not yielding, or, and I don't know exactly the background. And again, I didn't put it on the agenda, I just put in the administrative report, because it's good for our education, if nothing else.
Yeah.
And if you guys want to move forward with some type of a policy to say, but, 12 and under only, and they do have to yield, et cetera. Meadow Road Bridge, the bridge inspection is coming, and then we can talk about next steps, but there is some hope that we might be able to repair the bridge.
well, we figure out a permanent replacement.
A temporary repair.
And just,
Temporary repair.
I want them to do the policy exploration. I think making it 12 and under or something like that might be too, I don't know. I'm not sure what it should be. I think maybe adults encouraged to use the road or a better way to say that. Besides just prohibited, I don't know.
I mean, it was someone with kids who
Yeah.
used to bike on a sidewalk with them. I mean, I agree.
Yeah, a way to make it a more standard space thing instead of a hard rule, I guess is what I'm saying. So not be like, no adults on sidewalk in case.
I'll try to see if there's policies.
Yeah, I'm not wedded to anything, but sorry to bring it back to the last thing.
I can look into that and see if I can come up with something. So that's the gist for that. The Welcome to Waitsfield sign, the day it was installed, Waitsfield Telecom contacted me and said that they're all excited, including the owners, about moving it. So,
I wondered about that, because it was installed where it was.
Woodinwood was very anxious about it going up. And I tried to push it, and they held off for about a week, and then they were ready to put them up. And I said, okay. So, so not only that, they're also excited about all the landscaping and everything that's shown in the report from 11 years ago.
So we're gonna have it moved?
So, yes, I'm gonna talk to Josh Rogers about it. Anyway, I thought that was pretty cool news, because, you know, we just invested a lot of money into the new signs, they look amazing. And so the hope is that they'll be moved pretty soon.
Could you,
And,
sorry,
yep, no, go ahead.
just, I wanna make sure we don't miss the Meadow Road Bridge.
Yeah, I just said, we're basically on hold until the inspection.
And
you.
we do not qualify for a temporary bridge.
There are
aren't
no
any.
temporary bridges.
There are no, okay, so it's not that we don't qualify for them, it's that there aren't any.
Correct.
Okay.
Now,
I would ask you to share Alice's email
I did,
with all of us.
it's in the report.
Is it most wonderful?
I mean, I mean, everything in the report is basically from her.
Okay.
It's just a synopsis, and I think I put that, maybe I meant to. If I left
Because
out
she
her
wrote a
name, I
nice report.
apologize.
She
Yeah,
wrote a nice summary of the meeting.
This Meadow Road Bridge update is Alice.
Okay,
What page, sorry?
That was page 8.
8.
Long story short, is I was actually pushing for an A&E study, an architecture study. But it was decided through our team that we should wait until the inspection and then the report, and then move forward with some firms to look at it and see what they say about doing it, about rebuilding part of the bridge.
So
and then
Josh
regrading.
asked me tonight, when we were at the site visit of the gravel pit, whether he should get out there and fill the holes, and I said, wait until the inspection report.
Yeah.
It might be a bigger fix than that, so.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because they need to see the exposed rebar.
Yeah,
and that's gonna be important also for when we have an A&E study, or this inspection might actually do it for the FEMA, in terms of being reimbursed from FEMA. It's possible that even that will show that, if it shows that it degraded faster because of the flooding event of last July 10th, then
Yeah.
we can start getting money from FEMA also.
that was a concern, that it said Waitsfield's not eligible for a temporary bridge, as the current bridge's condition is attributed to deferred maintenance.
Yeah, that's what I was
Even
curious
though
about.
one of the engineers, I was
That's
under
right.
the impression had said that it was exacerbated by the flood.
That's my understanding as well from the bridge
The
inspector.
decking was exacerbated by the excessive traffic. The stringers underneath that got holes in them from rust is from the neglected maintenance.
Well, when Josh Schwartz talked to the inspector, when he did the Tremblay Bridge,
Josh Schwartz?
yeah,
Josh
like he
Rogers.
went down and talked to the.
Josh Schwartz.
Josh Schwartz. When he-
Rogers.
Schwartz.
Why did Josh Schwartz go down there?
Josh Schwartz went down when the bridge inspector was at the Tremblay Road one, the one on Route 100 that has been fixed since then. And he just talked, he was chatting it up with them.
I mean,
And
he
brought
lives
up-
off of there,
he lives
so I
off
think
there.
that that's.
And he brought up he's planning for the whole valley, and asked about the Meadow Road Bridge. And he asked, was there more degradation, I think above and beyond just the decking, from last year's flooding event? And his response was, most definitely yes.
Mhm.
So if that report can show that, then that changes everything with FEMA,
Yeah.
which could be,
Mhm.
and I have a big meeting with FEMA this Thursday. And by big, I mean because the H&H study for Old Center Facein Culver came in. And so starting to move forward with that.
While we're talking about bridges, there were significant deficiencies with the Trombley Bridge. Missing bolts, wrong size bolts.
Yep.
Do we need to start thinking about addressing that problem?
Are there? Oh, yeah, I don't know anything about that.
Yeah,
Probably.
that was the bridge inspection.
Yes.
It's not deteriorating, but there were other problems.
Wrong size bolts, missing bolts.
That should be,
That sounds
That should-
problematic.
We should take care of that.
That's sort of what I thought.
Or we can just stall and then end up with another metal road bridge.
Yeah, so we can buy 2 new bridges.
so when we get the inspection report, and if we do hire an engineer to look at it, we might also want them to look at the Trombley Road
That
and look at that
apparently,
inspection.
okay.
Does that seem?
Yep.
I think that's basically it. If you have any questions from the rest of it, FEMA, I touched on, outdoor recreation, economic impact toolkit's going well. I think I'm glad that we did this, because now that we're going through the process, I think it's gonna give us, more tools in terms of moving forward, with financial policies, et cetera, et cetera. And Dana Hill, I put that in because, we've gotten some emails and phone calls about Dana Hill. So Josh went up and he did several repairs on culverts, which is our job as a town for a road. Bridges and culverts, we have to make sure that they're maintained well. And they were both exposed, so Josh's crew fixed that and fixed a couple other spots too. And we received a call that day, actually, from one of the homeowners and thanked us for doing work. And he said getting to his place was easier because of it. I think that's the gist.
There's another class 4 road, I got a call from a landowner on Palmer Hill. Wants to do some repairs on a camp and wasn't able to access it, and Josh did say it's on his list and he's gonna, and he didn't feel as though it was gonna be that much work.
Okay. Yeah, Dana Hill will be a lot of work.
Yeah.
Josh gave me a little site visit up Dana Hill. If you guys have never driven it, I'd say don't. I think that's it.
So we aren't going to have an executive session tonight unless something
Nope, that's right.
new has come up. So anything else anybody wants to raise or a motion to adjourn?
I have one quick thing, which is that I've been asked a couple of times about short-term rentals and if that is a thing that especially, basically, who's gonna figure that out? So I'm putting that on radar. I think it might be something to punt to the planning commission potentially. Just
My other
because-
idea was, Warren is doing this right now.
Well, there seem to be,
They
they
are,
seem
but
to be
they
stalled.
aren't, yeah.
Because they've been doing this for several years.
I mean, every month we wait, it is getting harder, and that's just gonna be the reality.
Yeah.
And how we do it is not gonna be easy.
Mhm.
It's gonna be really difficult.
Yeah. So I just
Um,
figured I would put that
And a
back
lot of
out.
municipalities are going through the same thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, we have guinea pigs out there.
I'm curious about the planning commission. Do you feel as though that's something that,
Potentially, but with the caveat that like I am married to the chair, so I realize that like that's a little bit. So my understanding initially, I know, surprise.
That is how it worked in Warren, right? It was the planning commission came up with the recommendations.
I think so. The other thing is that it hadn't occurred to me that it would make sense for them to handle it, mostly based on the fact that I thought that they were kind of inundated with grant-related things for the master planning grant. It sounds like, and it would be worth following up with JB, that may be starting to
Wind down.
come to winding down, and that having an additional project, like making recommendations for a short-term rental ordinance, would be within their wheelhouse potentially. So, just figured I would put that out there.
would you like someone to reach out to the planning commission? Or would you?
Do you know anybody on the
I
planning
do.
commission?
I do.
You're gonna have to take a long trip.
I think what I would want to do is I can reach out to the chair and also probably JB and
Yeah,
see
okay.
in an email to make it more real. If that
And it's
is,
safe to say you're doing it on behalf of the select board?
is,
Yeah, okay.
okay. I don't know if that requires anything formal, but,
Thank you, yeah, that's a good one.
Yes.
And I think there are guinea pigs out there. Right?
It-
It's
Oh,
not
there are
gonna be
so
recreating the
many,
wheel
yeah.
necessarily.
And include me on that. I did, I've met with Dan Raddick a couple times and
Okay.
reviewed their work. I think the planning commission in Warren has taken it to a point where it's close to being done, it's just hasn't moved beyond that point.
mhm.
And we
And
might
it
be easier
Seems to
than
be
Warren.
divisive from what I can see.
It is,
from
and I think
town.
it's going to be kind of no matter what, but I think not doing anything is kind of not an option anymore, or at least isn't
No.
going to
Or
be.
what are the implications of that option,
Yeah.
to not do anything?
To not do anything?
Yeah, and
To
that's
understand,
part of
to
the.
understand
Yeah.
what that is signing up for.
Yeah.
But we should be easier than Warren, I would suspect.
Yeah, and I think many more of our short-term rentals are probably single-family homes and otherwise residential neighborhoods as opposed to condos at the ski area
Yeah.
or at other resorts.
We also have a lot more hotels and inns than
Yeah.
Warren does, so,
Excuse me?
hotels and inns?
Waitsfield?
Yeah, Featherbed Inn, Waitsfield Inn,
Facein
Yeah, but I
has
think
quite a
Warren
few.
still
I guess-
has quite a few.
I
Okay.
mean, they get all the condos and everything up to the ski area.
but those are condos though.
As opposed to inns.
Those aren't like
They have
hotels.
Claybrook.
Okay.
Because
Well,
those are Airbnb, well, they're probably not all Airbnbs.
Well, a lot of inns actually will advertise on Airbnb.
so I mean, those are things that like I don't know, I just
And
know
how
that.
do you deal with that?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't, if you saw a very large percentage of the Stowe Airbnbs are absentee, non-town owned.
Mhm.
Their owners are from out of town,
Yeah.
which puts a big, what's the fire chief, how do they contact, there's just a lot of emergency response issues associated with that, maintenance issues, neighbor complaints. It can be controversial, but I actually think we should deal with that.
Montreal just put their much more restrictive one in, Burlington, New York, bigger places. Obviously, this is a different situation, but,
I do think especially as we're like really hoping for growth in housing, that having a framework in place that
Yeah.
doesn't, well, I don't know. There have been concerns from multiple parties that any new housing is just gonna turn into Airbnbs. So,
I agree.
Mhm.
So that's a concern.
And what's the reason for that?
It's economically very productive to buy a place and rent it out at inflated prices per night because people are willing to pay it because they want to be here. That takes that housing stock away from potential long-term tenants or homeowners, I think is the,
That's that argument.
yeah.
And also, like, when you look at HUD type things, like even grants, like, they don't really account for it, like they should, so it messes up, in terms of like if we were gonna apply for a grant, short-term rentals aren't considered in some of those metrics, which makes it really hard to even say, oh, we qualify because, and they're like, no, you don't, and it's like, we do, cause we have X number of short-term rentals, and that's a huge percentage of our housing stock that you're not considering in your metrics.
Yeah, basically in places with high demand for short-term rental visits, it's a very high returning asset to buy a house and turn it into that.
the
Which-
number of, just anecdotally, the number of folks who'd been long-term renters in a place that
Yep,
was
I've
then
heard that.
sold
I've heard this
to
too.
somebody, and then they no longer had a place. They'd been like living somewhere for 10 years, and then all of a sudden a new owner decided they wanted to make it an Airbnb. Like that really
Yeah.
stinks.
I mean, we have a housing crisis.
Yeah, so,
If I may be so bold, you could go back to the MRV TV video of Warren last week when they covered this very stuff that you're talking about.
Hooray.
Okay, thank you,
We
John.
shall,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
About the whole thing about the valuation of whether it's a condo, that it's a remote Airbnb, is it one room, is it the whole place? So there's a service that they're using, but if you look out, you can get a lot of information.
awesome.
Thanks,
Thank you
John.
for that.
Thanks, MRV.
Appreciate
John.
it.
Thank you.
That's a good idea. I actually wanna, side note, they just did a wastewater public meeting, I think, a week ago, Monday, a week ago today. And, I've been wanting to find that recording as well. Oh, no, sorry, not wastewater, town garage.
Town garage, yes, they just
Down
had a
there.
big town garage.
Yeah, and I
was
missed
there
it,
for
I didn't
that.
know about it until the next day.
Anything else?
I'm good.
I move to adjourn.
Second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.